I wanted to take some time today and talk a little bit about symbolism. There's so much really good dialogue going on, but we get hung up on what objects or names are supposed to mean for ourselves and for each other, and then how to handle it. I'm going to go over 4 types of symbols and give you some background on how different groups may be looking at them, and then give you some options, some ways to deal with these symbols in a healthy way, which gives you an option to be able to feel the way you feel, but also make room for other people who may have a different reaction. The first one I'm going to tackle is a big one, and that is the flag, the American flag. Now, I want to tell you something. I am an immigrant's daughter. My parents were born in another country, and I was the first in my family to be born here in the United States. And the flag is really important to me. I am a patriot. I studied political science when I was in college, and I actually love the Constitution. I love the concept of what went into creating a document that could be referenced and utilized over 200 years later. So I wanted to let you know that. But let's dig into what the flag means and why it can get so heated. Lately, there's been some disagreements about the flag because some people, Colin Kaepernick is one of them, kneeled when the anthem was being played. And there were people that felt like it was disrespectful, that you always stand when the flag is displayed, when you're singing the national anthem. Well, let's really think about what the flag means. It can mean different things for different people. It can be just the flag that's used to represent our country. It is about freedom. It is about rights. When you become a naturalized citizen, it can be a real symbol for what the dream is. A flag is also displayed over the coffin of a military person who has been killed in battle. Depending on who you are, depending on where you come from, you will create your own meaning when it comes to the flag. The flag means something. It is a symbol of the umbrella of this country and all the people who are in it. And if someone feels like the rights of that flag, that this flag is supposed to symbolize that everyone is treated a certain way, and that's what the flag means, they may protest that we are not executing what the flag promises, what the flag symbolizes. Now, when somebody says, well, I don't care how you are being treated, the flag gets the same respect no matter what, you are leaning towards making the symbol more important than the person, when the person is supposed to be more important than the symbol. The person and the way they're treated is the accountability for the symbol. Once the symbol doesn't match the way people are being treated, then it becomes something meaningless. Just think about A, what it is that you think the symbol means, and B, is the present situation representing, lifting up what that symbol of that flag is supposed to mean. The second symbol is Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima is a type of syrup and pancake mix, and it uses the mammy archetype as its branding tool. The mammy had a great many responsibilities back in the times of slavery. They were entrusted with plantation owners' children to be raised. They kind of ran the back office of the house that they were working for. And if you really look at the evolution of this brand of mammy, she started out as this very dark-skinned, sort of a caricature, and slowly evolved over time because they were trying to adjust it to make sure that it was comfortable for the people who were consuming it. Now we're shedding light on this symbol. Just imagine what it would be like if this symbol is actually your life, if the symbol is a symbol of your ancestors, of your lineage, and the pain that was endured by those people so that you could experience freedom today. And so maybe it's painful for somebody to look at this depiction of this person who was taken advantage of, who wasn't given autonomy over their own children, who didn't have choices in the responsibilities that they were given. It's a symbol of what? You have to think about this. There's 2 options. It's a symbol of pancake mix and syrup, or it's a symbol of something really painful in our history. And if it connects to you and your family, that symbol can become very, very personal. Some people talk about a woman named Nancy Green because eventually Quaker Oats hired a person to become the face of Aunt Jemima, and she was born a slave and then was a business owner and was very empowered as a person. And they say, why don't you look at it like Aunt Jemima is Nancy Green and look at everything that they came out of. They were eventually triumphant. But at the end of the day, the symbol still was born a slave. And we know that that is wrong to enslave other people. And so because the symbol is so complicated, it makes sense to release the symbol and replace it with something that's less painful. The third symbol is around teams. Sometimes teams are named after Native American terms, for example, the Mohawks, the Chiefs. And there's a push to rename teams that are using these terms that belong to Native Americans. And there are people that say, what is the big deal? I have a great memory of being a Mohawk, of rooting for the Chiefs. Why are they wanting to change my history? But long before you had a relationship with that word or that name, the origin of the term belonged to the Native American. And the relationship represents a negative history, a painful history. It represents the things that happened, the sicknesses that came, the massacres that occurred, the problems that are surrounded with the deal that was made with Native Americans. And what they want is to be able to take those names back. They want the pain, they want the traditions, they want all of those terms and that language to be returned to them so that they can begin to deal with it and heal. Yes, it is a symbol of your amazing childhood. It's a symbol of your sports teams, but it also is a symbol of some really hard things that people are still going through today. The results of the bad decisions that were made and how we interact with Native Americans still exist. It really looks like we don't care what they're going through and we want to cut out all of the negative history and just have fun with the word, but there are people that are left behind that are in pain. The last symbol is about statues, because right now we are, as a society, taking down statues that we feel don't represent our ideals. And this also can be really, really hard. I think that when you see a statue being taken down, it can feel like history is being rewritten. History is being wiped out. Honestly, we have to ask ourselves, what do we really stand for? And if a person represents an oppression of a group that still exists today, then maybe this is a chance for us to invest in that community and say, we don't want those symbols in our life. Also, just consider some of these people, the story was folklore. And it didn't actually happen that way. And when you look at actual history that we know, it may make sense to get rid of the statue. And it may feel uncomfortable to you, but ask yourself why that is. Perhaps it's because you like the statue for the old story and you kind of want to ignore the new story and just stay in that blissful ignorance. And let me tell you, I understand that. I love symbols. I get inspired by really good stories, and it makes me sad to realize that we celebrated people that didn't have the ideals that we wanted them to have. They were just human and they were of the time. So I think a good idea would be to release the story that wasn't true and do a little work to find out who these people really are. And would you want to celebrate them and lionize them and hold them up as a symbol of what we are? Or can we find another symbol that more accurately represents the society that we've become today? So a few tips as we go through this process of purging symbols and realigning ourselves with the true values of what this country is supposed to be about. Number one, before you become really enraged that someone is attacking your symbol, take some time to look at the true story. Do some research, find out who these people really are, what this symbol is supposed to represent, and then ask yourself, number two, does that true story align with your ideals? Does it make sense? Does it accurately reflect what you want to be about, what you want this country to be about. Is it about justice? Is it about equality? Is it about everybody getting the same chance to do great things? Because that is the most amazing thing about this country, that there is a dream that people can have, that they can reach for equality no matter where they're from, no matter what they look like, no matter how much money they have. I think that it's important to allow the narrative to change. I mean, things mean different things over the course of many years. And as you evolve, as our community evolves, so should our symbols. If you don't have a negative feeling about that symbol, that's great. Be thankful. Be thankful that every time you look at that symbol, you don't have pain and stress and anxiety, that you don't have a negative history that happened in the past. My final suggestion is that you protect those who are in pain. Don't ever let the symbol become more important than the human. Otherwise, you've stepped out of sync with whatever that symbol means. Hey, I understand that these symbols mean something to you, and I can appreciate that you have positive memories or important connections to those symbols. But make room for how other people feel about those same symbols. Just because you see it that way doesn't mean that it isn't causing pain for other people. Always pick people over symbols. That's what makes our community so amazing.